professionals, you're gonna finish. If you have one song and that's all you got, if people hate it and you can tell that they hate it, you gotta finish and you gotta get to the end, and you gotta get to the the end goal of completing the performance. All right, what up, world? Hemingway checking in, and these are my 5 reasons why I think you should start doing showcases or open mics. Number 1, it puts you out there. So first and foremost, if you're just beginning in your music career, specifically your rap career, the sooner you reach a point to where you're comfortable to actually hitting the stage and performing, the sooner you get to actually put yourself out there officially as an artist, and you kind of move from the hobbyist. That even if you're doing open mics, you could be a hobbyist, but you start to put yourself out there and you start to garner that light, and people understanding that you make music and you're a creator and an artist. Number 2, you start to find your stage presence, and you start to understand how you perform. Depending on if you're doing multiple open mics, you start to learn different stages and how to work the room in different spaces, stuff like that. You start to learn breath control, mic control, crowd control, depending on if you're speaking in between songs, if you got a multi-song set, stuff like that. So you really start to learn your stage presence the more and more you do open mics and showcases. Number 3, you get to hear how your mix sounds. So if you are a DIY artist and you're recording yourself and you're engineering yourself, you'll start to hear your mix as you perform, and you'll get the feedback not only from the speakers, the literal feedback, and you get to hear it being played out loud, but you'll get feedback from the crowd, especially if you hit any of those like open mics or showcases that are more so like panel based, and they get to critique your performance and how you sound overall. You'll start to learn not only how it sounds when you're mixing it, and then how it sounds in the car on the ride there, but then how it sounds in a club or in a bar in certain different atmospheres, and you start to tweak and critique things off the mix when you start to hear it in different areas and different like settings and stuff like that. Number 4 is you learn how to read the room. So if you're performing, all in all, professionals, you're gonna finish. If you have one song and that's all you got, if people hate it and you can tell that they hate it, you gotta finish and you gotta get to the end, and you gotta get to the end goal of completing the performance. But you still get to learn you read the room, and you understand, okay, while I was performing this song, people didn't like that, or I got a certain response when I said this line, or this ad lib might have came in too loud, or the fact if people are still performing over your actual track instead of having a performance track without the backing vocals. Like, you'll start to understand and get the feedback from the room and just see responses while you're on the stage. The more comfortable you get with actually performing, you'll start to get a little bit more fluid, and it'll be more fluid, and it'll be natural, and you can start doing your thing and like looking and seeing faces, and like you're rapping, but you understand that like, okay, they not rocking with this, and when I said that, she hit me with the stank face. Like I've gotten to the point to where I can notice all that, and then after my performance, I like recollected all in my head. Number 5 is you learn how to network. So not only do you get to learn how to read the room, but you learn how to network with the people in the room before and after your performance, and then you start to learn who is who in the room. If you're a rapper and you're in that scene in your community, you get to learn who is who's the DJs, who's the engineers, who's the producers, who's the rappers who have a buzz right now, who's the singers, promoters, managers, all that stuff. And the everything behind the scenes that plays in any genre. But if you're in a band, you start to learn who promoters are and stuff like that. If whatever genre of music you do, the more that you start to do open mics and then graduate to showcases, and then you get to hit more rooms in your city and start expanding outside of your city, the more you learn how to network and who to network with. And it's trial and error. You just got to start talking to people and meeting people, and just always stay prepared, have some type of product and some type of advertising, something to do to some type of branding material to leave with people, so you're never like empty-handed. And just always introduce yourself. But that's something you learn how to do the more you start hitting these open mics. And I will do a video explaining the difference between open mics and showcases. At least in my eyes, I think there's a little difference. I might actually have to pull up the Webster and like find the literal difference, but like there's a difference there. But all in all, like whichever one you're doing, it's good to start doing them as soon as possible. when you're just starting out your music career as an artist or a performer, especially as a rapper. You got to get out there as soon as you're comfortable with your songs and you know your lyrics. You need to start getting out there, hitting these open mic showcases, find other ways to perform and get yourself out there and start hitting the stage so you can start letting people know that you really, really do this, you know? Other than that, those are my 5 reasons why I think you should start doing open mics. I'm gonna give you 5 more reasons why I think you should stop doing open mics after you get to a certain level or when you've done it for a certain amount of time. Y'all make sure y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. If you're an artist, how many open mics have you done? How you feel about them? You know, maybe if they never performed before, just tell them something, give them some feedback, you know, some words of encouragement. Again, I go by the name of Hemingway, and until next time, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to this YouTube page and check out my latest single of the month, Purpose, streaming on all streaming platforms right now. Until next time, I go by the name of Hemingway. I'm out of here.